Kardinal.
Yo.
What's up, my man?
Yo, you know how it go, man. Chilling, and more chilling. Up in the T-Dot, you know what I mean? Keeping it hot with the circle, so I'll go for 2003, you know what I mean?
Definitely. We did something that's a rare thing here in the U.S. We kind of did a tribute show to Canadian hip-hop.
Oh, word? All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, respect, dude. Don't know.
So we wanted to showcase, what we feel is definitely giving hip-hop a twist these days. It's definitely innovating sounds. But we want to get into your album, so speak about it, the F Word. When does that drop?
F-Word Theory, that's what it is. Firestarter Volume 2, for all of those who picked up Firestarter Volume 1, The Quest for Fire. Big up, you done know every time. It's probably going to be, you know how it goes with all these due dates, man. It's going to be sometime in the late summer, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Sometime in the late summer. But yeah, that's the F-Word Theory. And it's like definitely my craziest collection of music to date, no doubt.
That's hot. You got a lot of guests, or not a lot, but you got some key guests up on the album. You got Busta Bus.
Mm-hmm.
You got my man Pharoah Monch.
No doubt.
I heard Jake One laced the beat.
Yeah, for sure. Big up to, what I'm saying, Jake One, the whole Bay Area. He definitely laced us with a heater, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's the next big thing. How that collab will work out with you and Pharoah?
Yo, he came up to the T-Dot, you know what I'm saying, and we had him up in my studio, and we just spent the day going back and forth, just firing off shots. I'm telling you, it's like you can ask him whenever you guys interview and you ask him, this is definitely going to be, a historical track, because if you're into flows, you're into lyrics, just everything, delivery, music, this is definitely one of the most craziest lyrical joints I ever done, you know what I'm saying? Because, when you're doing a track with Pharoah, you know what I mean, you got to make sure that your game is stepped up to top notch, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Right. Like, we definitely just tilted on that one, so good looking out to Pharoah Monch, definitely, you know what I mean?
Definitely. You got Bounty Killer on the album as well.
Yep.
We just played that joint not too long ago. And as far as producers...
Man, you got some big name producers, kid. You got like Neptunes.
Yeah.
How'd that hook up, man?
That whole Neptunes thing came about, they were actually, they were up in the T-Dot, like, early last year before that Grinding record really blew up, you know what I'm saying? They were down here promoting their Nerd album. Mm-hmm. And we were just at a club, doing the club thing. A friend of mine was throwing a party, so we went through. And as we were going up the stairs, we seen Pharrell coming down. So, I didn't expect him expect to see him in the T-Dot. So I was like, what up? We were just, talking, shooting the same BS. Yeah, I like your stuff, I like yours, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yo, we about to do this remix for Grinding. I want you to jump on it with the clips. I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because, people always talk that ish all the time. But it's like, yo, all I know is, like, within a week, I got a call from Star Trek. And, like, within a couple of weeks, it was game over. You know what I mean? So later on that year, in October, like last October, we did a show with the Clips and Pharrell and them out in Puerto Rico for this DJ convention, and I just blew up the spot, and he was like, yo, I need to get on your album. I want to do something crazy, something different. I want to, just blow this music thing out of the water, so I need to get on your album. And I was like, yeah, whatever, thinking that he was, talking mess again. And next thing you know, 3 weeks later, it was history. We went to New York and just laced the track one time, so it was crazy.
The track's called Belly Dancer.
Yeah.
We're playing it in the backdrop right now for those that haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, man.
So that's actually the new single out right now.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on MCA Records. Tell us how you got down with MCA.
Well, really and truly, anybody that's a follower of dope underground music, it's like my whole crew, the circle, myself, Shaw Claire, Socrates, Marvel, Solitaire, all of us, we've been putting out records since 94, and it's like, towards the late 90s, through the help of people like, Bobito and other underground legends like that, they really just put me on in certain situations to where I could, showcase what I had. And so, Bobito brought me over. I did a tour in Europe in the late 90s with like, Dilated Peoples, Last Emperor, just a bunch of crazy underground cats. And I went and blew it over in Europe. And then, the noise started traveling down, and then, everybody started checking for me or whatever. And then, Source gave me certain accolades and whatever. And then MCA came to us, and in 2000, I think it was August in 2000, that's when I signed the deal. So since then, we just, been implying the independent hustle with a major corporation muscle, you see what I mean?
Definitely, man. You've been doing your thing for a minute, which leads to my next question. how do you feel about the way Canadian hip hop is like received here, like as far as respect goes in the States?
Word. It's one of those things where, I mean, I can't even really speak on the whole Canadian scene per se, but I mean, coming out of Toronto, anything that really gets heard, you know what I mean, that's quality music, it's been love, you know. I've been traveling, and it's like, I'm just glad that there's still a very strong underground scene, so people will know about, you know, the RCs, people will know about the Brass Monks, and, you know what I mean, remember the Socrateses and all that good stuff. And really, on a whole, it's really been crazy, you know, because it's like, I came up, you know, under Socks and Shocks, like when they had their major deals, I was still independent, and, you know, the type of music that them cats been putting out, I seen anybody from Redman to DJ Premier to, you know, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, you know what I mean, give up love for Toronto hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely been love, and we appreciate it, you know what I mean? But it's like, that's why I recorded most of my album over here in Toronto, because I wanted to make sure that the vibes just continue to be original and raw, because it's like, cats is hungry over here, you know what I'm saying? You can't really sleep in the T-Dot, so it's like, you gotta make sure that everything is on par. So that's, you know what I mean, that's just love, but that's what T-Dot's all about.
Definitely. I want to get into your last album real quick, because I have a question.
Cool.
You did a lot of production, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you do any production on the new album, or you kind of like steering away from that and going more towards MCing? Because, I mean, you definitely do a lot of tracks for, you know, other people, but it seems like on this album, I mean, you know, I guess you kind of define your craft and you let other people handle the production, and now you're just doing the MC.
Nah, never that, man. I definitely produce, like, probably about, I'd say about 40% of the tracks that's going to be on the album.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So it's like, you know, if you enjoyed the stuff that I did on the last album, like, really and truly, a lot of those songs that I had from the Firestarter Volume 1, we had those tracks going into the deal, you know what I mean? So it's like, my production style is similar, but it's kind of elevated, you know, because I learned how to freak the MPC better and freak the ASR and all them other machines. So, you know, but it's like, with this album, it was one of those things where if you notice on the first album that I did, there were barely, I mean, except for the people in my crew, there were barely any real guest stars except for like Sean Paul and Glenn Lewis, you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, for this one, I wanted to, you know, I treat every album I have like it's the last one, because you never know, this world is a crazy place right now, and you never know what's really going to happen, you know what I mean, tomorrow. So I'm like, yo, heaven forbid I can never do any more music, let me just make this one, you know what I mean, go out with a bang every time. And that's just the way I look at everything. Every day is the last one, so I have to enjoy every day. So I said, yo, let me work with the producers that I always wanted to work with, you know what I'm saying? So that's why Scratch is on there, Knox is on there, you know what I mean? We got a joint from Timberland, you know what I mean? Jake One, all that good stuff. You see what I'm saying? I just wanted to make sure and be able to reach out and work with some of my favorite cats, you know?
Okay.
That's cool, man. Yo, speaking of that, man, I mean, of course, you can't get with every cat, whether they're busy working on other albums. Is there people that you wanted to work with on this album, or that you like to work with in the future that you didn't get to in the past so far?
Yeah, man, definitely Jay Dilla. You know what I'm saying? He's one of my all-time favorites, and I would have loved to have done a track with Jay Dilla for sure, as far as the production goes.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, because you're like a hip hop aficionado, obviously. So what inspired you to get in the game? And you know, what? The next question, besides that one, what is your favorite era in hip hop?
Well, I'll answer that one first, the last one first. My favorite era in hip hop is, I think, probably from like 1986 to 1992. Because it's like, I remember the first hip hop album that I bought was probably like album that I bought like with my own money was Eric B. and Rakim Paid in Full. Yeah, I think that might have been the first album that I bought. And it's like, I'm of that era from, it's like, I was, you know, I mean, I was a little kid, but it's like, I used to listen to every hip-hop radio show religiously as a little kid, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, so everything from Juice Crew All-Stars, you know what I'm saying, with Kool Keith, Rap, MC Stan, all that, the Big Daddy Kanes, you know what I mean, the Special Eds, the Chubb Rocks, and later on the De La Souls, the leader of the new school, back when hip-hop was just so crazy and had so much originality, you know what I'm saying? It's like, anything that was going wrong with my day, anything, you know what I mean? Like, if I was already in a good mood, just put on hip-hop and we just lived it, you know what I'm saying? We'd go out in the street and we dub cassettes from each other and you know what I mean? Just be the culture. It wasn't all about this, you know what I mean, this who has the most spins, how many units is this cat selling, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? We grew up on the KRS-Ones and all that kind of stuff, and seeing people with original concepts and just original lyrics and everything come out, that's what really inspired me to get into the game, you know what I'm saying, from way back then. So that pretty much answers the question, two in one, but yeah, that's definitely my favorite era, and that's what inspired me to get into this.
Okay, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or so?
Well, the way that the music industry is going, I think really and truly, like, you guys heard that Apple might be buying Universal?
Yeah, no, I just heard that today.
Yeah, man, it's like, you see what I'm saying? That's just a little indicator to show you the way that music is going. And music is not going to be so dependent on, you know what I mean, the major labels and all the rah-rah. Music is going to be made a lot more simple to where it's like, yo, if you're a fan of Kardinal, you go on the computer and you actually purchase Kardinal's music directly from Kardinal, you know what I'm saying? We're going to cut out the middleman that's, you know what I mean, playing the fiddle and making most of the stuff, and where the money goes is a riddle, you know what I mean? It's like just now you're going to see people that are buying music directly from me, and in that case, I can concentrate more on making music, but then I'll have time to do other things, you know what I'm saying? So I think, you know, you're definitely going to see me with the music, but, you know, I did a couple of small roles in movies this past year and all that kind of stuff, so you'll probably see me, you know what I mean, a little bit on the acting tip, but I think it's one of those things where I don't want to be one of them rapper turned actor dudes, you know what I mean? I'd like to really maybe take a year and study acting and see if that's the way to go, but you never know, you know what I mean? Because I've always been an entrepreneur. I haven't worked a 9 to 5 since I was like 15 years old, you know what I'm saying? So you never know, really.
You got the life. Listen, you definitely spoke on how the industry changed, but let's speak about how hip-hop changed itself. I mean, there's been a dramatic change, you want to say, in the past, 3-4 years?
Yeah.
Well, for me, you know, my era was probably like, I kind of like that whole early 90s, you know, it kind of stopped after 94.
Right,
of course,
right.
88 was a big year, but after that, hip-hop really changed, and it became diverse, and, you know, you can say it grew with the times, and of course, we all got older, but, like, what did your take on that whole situation of how hip-hop changed from, I mean, when you guys first started really catching some attention here in the U.S.?
Well,
that's like to now.
It's changed because we let a whole lot of whack stuff go through, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Really and truly, this game became more about marketing than it was about the actual songs, you know? A lot of stuff, that's the funny thing is like, sometimes I sit down with, I don't want to mention no names and incriminate nobody, but I sit down with a lot of hip-hop's greatest sometimes, and we sit there, and it's like I ask them, I'm like, yo, what was it like to be, you know what I mean, to be running things like back in the day when hip-hop was gravy, and they, you know, really and truly, they're like, yo, man, I feel sorry for you that you weren't able to be around, you know, 6 to 8 years ago when hip-hop was more beautiful, because now a lot of corny people are getting on, and a lot of corny people are doing a lot of corny stuff, and for whatever reason, it's selling a lot of records, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, honestly and truly, I think that's really the saddest thing for me is when it's like you meet a lot of rappers who was like, yo, things are real different now, and it's way more about the business than it is about the music, and that's an unfortunate thing, but, you know, everything changes, and it's like, I think that there's still a lot of us around that really care about the music and the culture, and, you know, there's a lot of people still around that are here to preserve, you know what I mean, hip-hop music, you understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And really want to change it, you know what I mean, and bring it back to something new and interesting. So that's just the route that I'm going, because even with this first single, this belly dancer thing with the Neptunes, we could have done one of those, you know, those regular soft, you know, singing in the hook, regular Neptunes joints, but it's like we wanted to do something totally different, you know what I mean? And Pharrell was loving how I was flowing over the grind, and he's like, yo, I want us to come with a hip-hop joint, but I want us to do it kind of in a dance hall way, just because, you know what I mean, just to make it fresh and make it innovative. And I mean, that's the stuff that I like to do, because it's like when I grow up, if you look at, you know, old KRS-One, you know what I mean, The Bridge Is Over, all that kind of stuff. That's the same dancehall influence song because that they sampled Super Cat, you understand what I'm saying? And still had the little dancehall dialect in there. You look at, you know, Grand Poobah back in the day, Brand Nubian and all of that stuff, and he had his little flavor, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things, everything, you know what I mean, comes full circle, and I definitely recognize what the forefathers of hip-hop had to offer, and it's like, I'm just trying to do that same kind of thing, bring something brand new and fresh, you know what I mean, into the stale market right now, because there's a lot of music that's really just redundant, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, we're going to do something we do with all of our guests. I'm going to give you a list of 10 names.
Okay.
And we want to pick your brain. We want to know what you think of them. So if you don't want to say anything, stay silent. I don't want to put anyone on blast, but everyone want to know what Kardinal thinks of other industry cats. So here we go. Ready?
Put it out there. Put it out there.
Mocha only.
Mocha only?
All right. Rascas.
Well, let me just go back to Mocha only. You know what? I respect this gangster. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like about 3 or 4 years ago, I used to see that cat because we used to tour up and down Canada all the time, and we used to see Mocha only doing his thing, and he was like real underground. But you know, he teamed up with Swollen members, and you know, whatever they're doing, you know, some people is liking it. So you know what I mean? He stepped up his game.
Gotcha. All right, Rascas is next up.
Rascas is one of the illest lyrical missiles in hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? It's like, the only thing is he needs to get at Kardinal and Socrates and let some of us produce his beats, you know what I'm saying?
Well, he needs to get at Johnny Cochran first so he can, you know, but then he'll holler at you.
You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Next up, Planet Asia.
Oh, Planet Asia. I remember Planet Asia from the first, we went on a Lyricist Lounge tour with Shaw Clear back in 1999, sometime around there, and I think that's the first time that I was really exposed to who he was, because he was on the stage, I think we were in New York, and he was doing his thing, and some cat jumped up talking about he wanted to battle, and yo, Planet Asia just took a verse and just ripped it just off the top and just destroyed dude. Planet Asia is one of the illest raw talents in this.
Alright, we're going to take it to the real underground with Kool Keith.
Woo! Kool Keith. Well, let me show you something. I came up on Ultramagnetics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
MCs, Ultra. All them joints back in the day. Kool Keith, he's one of them cats that, you know how certain old school cats, you know what I mean, they can't really keep up with what's going on now. He managed to find, you know what I mean, whatever he's good at. He found his niche, and he went with it, and he's still doing his thing. So big up to Kool Keith.
Okay, Redman.
Uncle Red, as Stocks calls him. Redman's, he's actually always up in the T-Dot because I'm sure you guys know that, you know, he signed Socrates or whatever.
Yep.
And he also signed E3, and both of them cats are up here. Redman is I think, he should be given some kind of award for a cat who kept it the most grimy, who really never changed his style and was still able to make it, you know what I mean, to a mainstream market. He always stayed dirty and grimy and represented hip-hop properly and made it to mainstream.
One of the most consistent rappers in history.
No doubt.
Next up, Royce 5'9".
Royce the 5'9". You know what? He's a cool cat. I met him one time. We were on tour. I met him in Detroit. He's a cool cat. I heard that he has some track that's dissing D12 and all that stuff. If Royce the 5'9" were ever, I don't know if it's his A&R or his manager or whatever, if he was to focus and get some of the illest production from some of the illest producers to match his delivery and stuff, he would definitely be one of the next to run this hip-hop game, because to me, he's nice. Okay. Greatly nice.
Talib Kweli.
He's, I remember we went a couple of summers ago. We did this block party in Brooklyn, and I met him for the first time, and he said, you know what I mean, with welcome arms, he said, welcome to Brooklyn, you know what I mean, pleasure to have you. He is one of the most, I think, genuine MCs that doesn't really put on a front for anybody, you know what I'm saying? And that goes for his personality as a person, but also lyrically, he doesn't front for nobody. He gives you what it is, has one of the illest flows, and speaks, I think, the most truth in this day and age right now, you know what I mean? There's a whole group of people that are unheard And I think he's speaking for a lot of those people that are unheard right now. So big up to Talib, you know what I'm saying?
Word. Devin the Dude.
Woo! Devin the Dude, that just brings me back to the first album to Firestarter Volume 1. When we were out in LA, we had bought one of his albums, you know what I'm saying? He's definitely an underrated character. And you see how we say that this hip-hop thing is all about marketing? If Homeboy was to get a huge marketing budget, he would definitely be, he's like the West Coast Old Dirty Bastard.
Yeah, he's very, very talented and diverse.
Yeah, man.
Lastly on the list, we're going to go with Ghostface Killah.
Ghostface Killah was the one, for everybody that got the first Kardinal album, the Quest for Fire joint, go back to a song called Man by Choice. And I started off by saying, he's got the green Timbs with the fat laces. I think Ghostface Killah is by far one of the most entertaining lyricists of our time right now, because it's like you listen to him and sometimes you don't know what Ghost is saying, but it just sounds crazy. Yeah, it just sounds fresh no matter what he's saying, you know what I'm saying?
He definitely wanted to. He took over where Kool Keith left off.
Oh, come on. Ghostface he's got so much charisma right now. Ghostface is doing it.
Okay, definitely.
He's definitely up there with Redman as staying consistent.
For sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Everybody who didn't pick up his last album, make sure and go pick that up.
All the albums.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I want to thank you for your time.
Yo, thank you, man.
Yo, you know what? Honestly, in all honesty, it's always a pleasure, you know what I mean, to do interviews where we talking about, you know what I mean, some real game and not just talking about the regular blah blah. You see what I'm saying?
Of course, man. Right. Respect. Your new album, The F Word, it drops sometime this summer. We don't have an exact release date, but you can check it on the website, KardinalOffishall.com.
No doubt. And look out for the video. We about to shoot the video in a couple weeks with Little X, you know what I mean? Little X is also from the T-Dot, you know what I'm saying? So the list goes on as far as what's representing from over here in Toronto. Believe that. So make sure you look for that Belly Dancer, you know what I'm saying, with Pharrell and the Neptunes, and the video going to be done by Little X. So keep your eyes out.
Of course.
You know?
All right, my man. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
have a good
man.
weekend.
My pleasure.
You know, keep it gangster. Big up.
No, we're going to link up soon.